Yo, yo, yo. Today we'll be watching, what's it called? Musicians who committed terrible crimes. Not surprising. Everyone's a dick. But anyway, if you guys like this video, maybe hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Maddie Balls. And they make amazing content. Really good content. Sorry for awkwardness. Let's get on to the, let's just get on to the reaction. I'm so sorry. I'm so ashamed.
As we know, the music industry can be a very dark place where a lot of shady things go down. From Rick James kidnapping and torturing someone to straight up murder and cannibalism. There have been a lot of terrible crimes committed by musicians. So today we're going to be looking into awful crimes committed by musicians, starting off with Big Lurch. Real quick, I want to say I got this video idea from my boy Tuv. He did a similar video, but I wanted to look at a few different examples. And I also wanted to say there's a lot of pretty dark topics in here, if you couldn't tell by the intro. So just wanted to do a broad trigger warning because yeah, some of these topics are pretty bad. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Big Lurch is a rapper who started his career in the 80s and moved to the Bay Area to work on his music. Probably the most notable artist he ever worked with was E40. Throughout the 90s, he was working on
a little hot take. I might be a little young, to listen to E40, but every time it's like he's reading a book to me, like a Dr. Seuss book every time he raps. Okay, I just want to get that out of there.
Music and performing. He had a really unique voice and sound, and it was very promising. But in the year 2000, Big Lurch had a lot of hardship, with his grandma dying and him getting in a nearly fatal car accident. His neck was broken and he was temporarily paralyzed, so many people thought he was using PCP to cope with the pain. However, Lurch said in an interview that he hadn't smoked PCP until the night of his crime.
What is
but
PCP?
Apparently he also said he did use it to cope with the pain, so that part is a little unclear. Eventually, he signed to a label called Black Market Records, and apparently a lot of the members from this label, including the owner Milton Grimes, were Crips. Big Lurch was a Blood, so there was a bit—
What the hell? they were just allowed to just make a— I guess anyone can make a record label in it now.
Tension, so he moved back to his home state of Texas. Eventually, though, he came back to LA to finish his album and moved into a dope house. In 2002, while working on his album, there was a party at his apartment. His roommate, who is a gang member, had his girl Tanisha over. He said they were passing around PCP and he only smoked weed, but he said he tried it that night. And the next thing he knew, he woke up in an LA County jail.
I want to fit in, you know, I don't want to look like a punk. I smoke weed, tobacco. I don't even drink. So I'm like, fuck it, I hit the red.
Yo, imagine just being awake and all of a sudden you're just in jail. Yo, what did I do? What did I do? Like that's like what, like just like going to jail in GTA 5. Like you literally just don't know what you did. That's crazy.
And I wake up, man. I had been in jail for like 2 weeks.
Tanisha's body was found
2 weeks? Oh my god.
On the next day with multiple injuries and bite marks. The police found Lurch naked running through the streets, claiming he was covered in blood. They even said that they found pieces of Tanisha in Lurch's stomach. So right away it seems like Lurch is guilty of cannibalism and murder. However, many people believe that Lurch was set up by the owner of the label, Milton Grimes. This is because Grimes was assigned to be Lurch's lawyer. At the time, Lurch was on psych meds as they were pleading insanity. More specifically,
what the can you like imagine literally imagine that is crazy. You have no idea. Oh my goodness. That's first of all, 1, that's disgusting. 2, that's crazy. 3, imagine just being in jail and they're like, oh yeah, you ate somebody. What? Like some Jeffrey Dahmer stuff?
Specifically, he was on haloperidol, which Mayo Clinic says this medicine may cause someone to become dizzy, drowsy, or may cause trouble with thinking or controlling body movements. So Lurch couldn't really speak for himself. The case that Grimes had made was pretty weak and there were a lot of holes. First of all, pleading insanity in California doesn't work when you're a voluntary drug user. It can be used if you have a history of mental illness, and Lurch had been hospitalized previously for bipolar disorder 2 times, but that wasn't brought up. As for the bite marks, Lurch said there—
I mean, like, I'm not. It's really hard to be like, oh, yo, he was out of control. Like, but you decided to do the drug though. It's like, oh gosh.
Dogs in the house, and that it was never brought up, and the bite marks were never tested. There were a lot of handprints everywhere, but they weren't used in the case. Lurch also says it was a dope house, but it was cleaned up with no drugs or guns or anything like that.
Well,
and Tanisha was also found with a lot of PCP in her system, even with her mom saying she didn't use PCP, and it was too much in her system to smoke, so it was thought that it was poured down her throat. They even used some of Lurch's darker, unreleased music against him in court, which just recently
crazy.
became illegal. On top of all of the evidence that wasn't used
Dang, back then they could use your freaking rap song, rap lyrics into the what like, okay, he did commit the crime, but if he were to appeal it, would it be like, oh, you use his rap lyrics in this song? It's like, I wonder how that works.
in court, Milton Grimes was sued for malpractice in 2004 by another client and was ordered to pay $1.2 million. Lurch himself believes that Grimes did this because he knew the DA and everyone at the court and wanted to gain favor with another case. On top of all of these inconsistencies in Big Lurch's case, the victim's mom sued the label, claiming the label provided him with drugs to act out in a violent way. She thinks that the label wanted to market him as a gangster rap artist. She doesn't think that Lurch killed Tanisha. She instead thinks that it was her boyfriend who was a gang member and had previously beat her before.
Wow.
Apparently, Tanisha was about to walk out right before this happened.
I believe he the one set all this up. He was beating on her. She had all her stuff packed, ready to leave the day all this.
Damn. So why don't you like get your daughter out of that out of that situation? That's so weird. Why you not get your daughter out of that situation?
She also points
I guess
out
because they're not always gonna listen to you, but still.
Tanisha was struck in the back of the neck with a scooter that belonged to one of her kids, and there was a bloody handprint on the scooter that wasn't Lurch's. So you're probably thinking, despite all of this, what about the pieces of Tanisha that were in Lurch's stomach? Well,
Yeah.
Lurch says all they found was a very small portion of the victim, and the victim's mother thinks that Lurch was so high he may have mistaken it for a piece of meat or been tricked by the people that set him up.
Ew.
Regardless of all this, he was sentenced to life in prison in 2003 without parole. Following the trial and the sentencing, there was even more shady stuff that happened. The label put out an album that Lurch had been working on and titled it It's All Bad. Lurch said the original name of the album was supposed to be The Puppet Master, so this further backs what Tanisha's mom was saying.
Wow. So allegedly, is that? I'm gonna put on a screen. I'll probably look it up. I don't know if they're even like still around, like Black Market something. But that's crazy. You're still putting out the album even though like dude's in jail. I guess they do that labels do that all the time when they have like unreleased stuff. But it's like, wow. I mean, that's starting to prove her point.
About
Allegedly.
the label trying to market him as a gangster rapper. On top of that, they photoshopped a picture of Lurch holding a platter with a skull on it for the cover, clearly trying to use his case to market the album. They later released a documentary.
That's crazy. That's great. Like, I'm sorry, cops, you're not gonna look into this, bro?
About him called Drugs Made Me Do It, again without his permission.
Behind the biography I did called Drugs Made Me Do It. You know, I didn't even know that was gonna be the name, but you know, they put it out on some
That's
Hollywood
crazy.
shit, and I'm a real life human, so the guards hit the building fucking with me. Drugs made me do it. Ooh, I smoke sherm.
So it's very clear that the
Oh my
label did
gosh.
profit from this incident. So whether or not you think Lurch was set up, this was a very controversial crime, and Lurch has been fighting for a retrial. And while Big Lurch has been garnering some sympathy from fans, very few people have sympathy for Varg Vikernes after he murdered.
I'm sorry. It sounds like he got set up. It sounds like he got set up, to be honest. It sounds like he got set up. It seems allegedly. It seems like allegedly. It seems like he got set up because first of all, you put out a song that is like someone like got murdered in. It's like first of all, oh gosh, the labels are crazy, bro.
Varg Vikernes is one of the most notorious metal artists of all time because of his crimes and his beliefs. And you really can't make a video like this without mentioning Varg. Recently, he even saw a surge in popularity again thanks to Kanye wearing one of his shirts and releasing cover art inspired by Varg. So Varg first got some popularity recording under the alias Burzum, but things really got crazy when he joined the band Mayhem. The band was fairly popular, especially because of the lead singer Dead taking his life a year prior. Varg joined as a bassist and quickly became controversial. That's because in June of 1992, a 800-year-old church was burned down and its remains were used as the cover for one of Burzum's albums. 7 other churches were burned down.
Wait, so did they? Oh, I guess they didn't do it. I'm about to say like
around
they
this
did
time
it
as
and they
well,
used it.
and Varg was later convicted of arson.
Oh,
Don't
he
worry,
did do
as
it.
that is bad. That was not the awful crime Varg was convicted of. Varg and Mayhem's guitarist Euronymous planned an interview with 2 journalists to promote black metal and to scare people, in which they basically admitted to burning down the churches and said that they were devil worshippers. They were also trying to drive
Goodness
sales
gracious.
to Euronymous' store Helvete, which will later become a topic of divide between the two. These guys were both strange, saying that a lot of their listeners were unworthy of of listening to their music or said you had to be a Satanist to be in the
Goodness gracious, they're cuckoo brain. No wonder they're in jail.
black metal scene. So yeah, these guys were pretty weird. And Euronymous and Varg started beefing because Varg thought Euronymous was too arrogant, and people also think Varg wanted Euronymous' power, which all resulted in Varg murdering his fellow bandmate Euronymous. The story surrounding this murder has a few different perspectives and it can get a little bit murky, so I'll do my best to sum it up. Basically, Varg and another bandmate, Blackthorn, drove up to Oslo where Euronymous was staying.
It sounds like this band was destined to like crack, like to not even make it that far. Cause goodness gracious, bro. You go from burning churches to murdering your own best friend.
You trying to give him a contract.
And he opened the door. When I got up in the apartment, he panicked because, he probably, he had plans to kill me, so he panicked. He attacked me. He kicked me in the chest. I just threw him to the ground.
Are they a British band or like are they American band?
Got up trying to get to his knife in the kitchen, and I thought, well, if he's gonna have a knife, I'm gonna have a knife. So I had a pocket knife, this small pocket knife. Started to run off towards his bedroom, where we kept the shotgun that Dad shot himself with. It's turned out later on he didn't have any of these things in the bedroom, but I believed it at the time. And that is the reason I followed him. And instead of going into the bedroom, he just left the building, really. He just started to run down the stairs.
God, it sounds like a really drunken night for them.
Yes. And I followed him and managed to stop him. Orsett got up and attacked me again. So I finished Orsett off, stabbed him in the skull, so he died immediately.
According to Varg, Euronymous attacked him first, and Varg
he just gave that like it was like a dialogue in a video game.
Killed him in self-defense. Varg said that Euronymous used the meeting to ambush and attack him. Euronymous had made some death threats against Varg to a few other friends and members of Mayhem. Varg said, if he was talking about it to everybody and anybody, I wouldn't have taken it seriously. But he just told a select group of friends, and one of them told me. However, Euronymous was found with 23 stab wounds, many of which were to the back, so the self-defense argument seemed a bit shaky.
Yeah, I don't think you could say self-defense when you stab someone multiple times.
Blackthorn said that Varg was planning to kill Euronymous and that he was pressured to go with. Varg, on the other hand, said that Blackthorn just wanted to show Euronymous some new guitar riffs. Another Mayhem member, Necro Butcher, said that Varg killed Euronymous because of the death threats, not in self-defense. As you can see, there are many different perspectives, but the court sided against Varg's self-defense claims. He was arrested on August 19th of 1993, and in his home the police found a bunch of explosives and 3,000 rounds of ammunition. Varg was sentenced to
What was he doing with all that?
21 years in prison for murdering his bandmate Euronymous and burning down 3 churches. Blackthorn got 8 years for being an accomplice. While in prison, Varg started a neo-Nazi group and has not been shy about his beliefs. Nowadays, Varg is out of prison, writing vlogs, and posting online. He even recently showed his support for Kanye after Kanye wore his merch, and even showed off a Burzum-inspired album cover for Vulture.
That went south.
So while Varg has gotten some love from Kanye lately, after Ian Watkins' disgusting crimes, pretty much everyone unanimously hates him.
Dude became a neo dude. Dude went from murdering his friend to becoming a neo-Nazi. Can't make this up,
Watkins was the lead singer of the band Lost Prophets, a Welsh band that has sold over 3 million albums over the years. They were known for tracks like Rooftops and Last Train Home.
God,
they formed in 1997 and put out music until 2012.
God, it doesn't what is it like? What is the music video about? Why does it look so weird?
The lead singer Ian Watkins was charged with multiple counts of SA. I know I gave a trigger warning earlier, but in my opinion, this is one of the grosser entries on the list, so be warned again. But let's continue. Apparently, even before the arrest, Ian's behaviors had been reported to the police as early as 2008, but nothing had been done about it. His bandmates said that they had no idea about.
I think Voice Critical made a video on this dude. Yeah, he did make a video on this dude. I believe he recently passed away in jail.
What he was up to, and apparently Ian had a drug problem that they said drove them apart. Even their manager said she had no idea about what Ian was up to.
Something like that happens, and you would imagine people would know what's going on, or it would be in plain sight or anything like that, but it seemed a lot of things had been happening without people knowing about it. But
I mean, the level of...
Gosh, imagine being a manager of these people. Ugh.
How fucked up it was. like sort of, I think, validates them not knowing, because like there's no way any sane person could have even an inkling of what's going on.
I think
and ignore it, or
I'm pretty sure Moist Critical made a video on this dude. Ian Hawk.
support
I think
it.
he made a video
So
on this dude.
There's
be
just
wrong.
no way that any of them had a clue.
As they further drifted apart, Ian got his own dressing room, and apparently the abuse of children occurred more often as he had his own space. One of Ian's ex-girlfriends said that she remembers him showing her graphic images with minors, so she reported it to the police, but they didn't do anything about it. She was actually one of 6 people who spoke to the police about what Ian was up to.
They just did nothing? Dude had CP, bro, and it didn't do nothing? What? Yeah, my boyfriend has a bunch of like CP in his on his phone. What do you mean? You gonna do something? Like, what is wrong with these people? What's wrong with these
Between
cops,
2008 and 2011, so it seemed like the police were really lacking. In 2009, Watkins told his ex that he was abusing a 2-year-old child in California.
He's admitting to it. He's admitting to it. He's admitting to it. The cops like, probably like that.
Yeah. While the band was recording in LA. She contacted the child's parents, who also reported Watkins, but again, no police action was taken.
I'm sorry. Where is the cops in this? What's going on? What's going on?
In 2010, an Australian woman also came forward claiming Ian had assaulted her child, but again, no police.
Are we just letting this? Is this dude just allowed to go wild, bro? This guy is just allowed to go wild. Why is he doing it?
Action was taken.
He a pedo, and they're just letting him do this.
He got arrested a couple of times in 2012 on drug charges, and the second time he got arrested, they also found CP. He pleaded not guilty.
Wow, it's weird how they took the drug stuff more serious than the CP. That's crazy.
To the explicit material charge, but shortly after parted ways with the band as the damage had already been done. Then a month after leaving the band, he was arrested on a 3rd time for drug charges. As a result, in connection to the previous investigation, police searched his home as well as a computer where they found a bunch of CP. After this discovery, Watkins was arrested, then charged with conspiracy to engage in sexual activity with a 1-year-old
Oh my god, this dude is like going down the list of like worst things, bro.
girl, possession and or distribution of indecent images of children,
1-year-old,
and
bro.
extreme animal pornography. So this guy was clearly a sicko. Ian pled guilty to attempted rape and sexual assault of a child under 13.
Oh my
He also
gosh.
pled guilty to 3 counts of sexual assault involving children, 6 counts of taking, making, or possessing indecent images of children, and 1 count of possessing an extreme graphic image involving a sex act on an animal. One of his victims was a baby boy, and Watkins even sent a text to the boy's mother saying, "If you belong to me, so does your baby." So
What the is wrong with this dude?
this stuff was just absolutely disgusting. The police investigation into Watkins was
What's really messed up is that they legit did not care until he got busted for drugs. Multiple people have called this dude out for the things he did, the things he even admitted to it, and they're like drug charges. Like, oh, drug charges is where we cross the line. We cross the line. That's crazy, bro.
named
I hope those cops are fired.
Operation Globe and involved a British intelligence agency, the GCHQ, which decrypted.
Now I'm glad this dude is no longer in Minecraft anymore. I can't say the other thing, but I'm glad he died in Fortnite.
A hidden drive on Ian's computer which contained evidence of the abuse. The police noted that Watkins' password they decrypted read, "I f*** kids."
And he's straight up admitting it. He's not even ashamed of doing it. He's a serial pedo.
He also said after Watkins' guilty plea was accepted that on a phone call with a female fan, he referred to his crimes as mega lols. So after all of that, in 2013, Ian Watkins was sentenced to 29 years in prison for multiple sexual offenses.
29 years, bro. He admitted to doing so many things with children. 29 years. 29 years. 29 years. Even charged. He's admitted to it. And he's even making jokes about it. fuck out of here, bro.
He was charged with essaying young children and infants, and he also was charged with possession of extreme CP and also animal materials. He also got a sentence increased by 10 months after they caught him with a phone in prison. The judge said that the case plunged into new depths of depravity. A senior officer
this dude Moist Critical was talking about.
Of the investigating team described Ian as a committed, organized and potentially the most dangerous sex offender he had ever dealt with. As you can imagine, the situation.
Well, if you guys would have caught him when the girlfriend said he did it, and the girlfriend said he did it, it's like, what? He admits to it. Y'all didn't do anything.
Absolutely destroyed the name of the band, the rest of the Lost Prophets members' careers, and even their label.
Yeah, it's just really, really hard for them to have everything taken away.
Good freaking riddance, bro. Good riddance. If the other people didn't know, I feel bad. But good riddance.
Because they'd invested. I mean, these people with wives, kids, everything. It was a good living for them, and everything like that's taken away in one go. And you got to reevaluate your life and think, why have you spent all the time doing that? It's horrendous. And for such a great bunch of creative.
Now I'm glad he died in Fortnite.
People as well.
A few years later, Ian was caught trying to groom a young mother of a 2-year-old girl through a series of letters from behind bars. Again, the officers were negligent.
What is wrong with this dude? This dude has no remorse.
And assumed that these were just crazy rumors from a fan or something like that. But on the bright side of all this, in 2023, Ian was taken hostage by 3 other inmates who stabbed him and then released him 6 hours later. The weapon they used was a sharpened toothbrush, and they stabbed him over a drug debt. So yeah, rightfully so, everyone in the industry hates this guy.
I wouldn't be surprised. Well, he's not living anymore. That's all I gotta say.
Probably one of the most disgusting people on this list, and I think Corey Taylor summed it up very well when he said,
"It was Metallica, us, and Lost Prophets." Yeah. Hey-o! All right, yeah. That dude. Yeah, he's a mess. There's not enough pain in the world for that.
Yeah. And while there's no justifying what Ian Watkins did, well, I don't know. There's not an excuse for Rick James either, but he did some pretty crazy stuff.
Oh my gosh, bro! How do you do worse than a pedo? Like, how do you do? I mean, murder, yeah, but it's like, goodness gracious.
Rick James was a very popular singer, songwriter, and record producer. He had a very long career in the music business and had multiple albums go gold, with his track Street Songs going platinum. He also had the hit song Super Freak, which, fun fact, never actually won a Grammy, but when MC Hammer sampled it for Can't Touch This, then he got a Grammy, so I thought that was interesting. Well, regardless, you guys know who Rick James is.
I'm Rick James, bitch!
One thing that was very well known about Rick James is that he suffered from drug addiction.
He kind of looks like, no, I can't say he looks like Tico Touchdown, but I think Tico Touchdown was like, looks just like
different drugs. His drug habits led to multiple hospitalizations.
Version of him.
Off into drugs then at that time, seriously, and it was like a time in my life when things were happening real fast, and I didn't quite have a serious grip on, on things.
On top of this, he had suffered a stroke from a blood vessel which burst during a show. Then he had hip replacement, which was also attributed to jumping around on stage, and substance abuse. His drug addiction also caused problems in areas other than his health, because at one point during his coke addiction for about 5 years straight, Rick James says he was spending $7,000 a week on drugs. And it was also
just spending $7,000 just to hurt yourself.
Drug use that led us to his crime.
It was a month ago yesterday that Rick James was arrested along with his girlfriend Tanya Hijazi for allegedly imprisoning a 24-year-old woman in his Hollywood Hills home, torturing her allegedly with a hot cocaine pipe and forcing her to commit sexual acts on his girlfriend Tanya Hijazi.
During a week-long binge, James and his girlfriend at the time, Tanya, were arrested on charges of kidnapping a 24-year-old girl and holding her hostage for up to 6 days. They tied her up, forced her to perform sexual acts, and burned her legs and abdomen with the hot end of a crack pipe.
What is wrong with this dude?
According to police, the 25-year-old...
Goodness gracious, bro. These people, bro. Being famous in the 1980s must have been freaking... Oh crap! Keep doing that. That's been crazy.
The victim claims she met Rick James and his female companion at a party. She says the trio.
That's why you don't trust people, bro. You don't trust anybody. Don't
then
trust
returned
anybody.
here to James' Hollywood home. It was on the nights of July 16th and 17th that alleged victim claims she became a virtual prisoner here, held at gunpoint, even tied up and tortured, she claims, by being burnt with the hot end of a crack cocaine pipe.
If convicted on all these charges, Rick James faced life in prison for assault with a deadly weapon, aggravated mayhem, torture, forcible oral copulation, false imprisonment, and kidnapping.
Okay.
A year later, while out on bail for those charges, he and his girlfriend then kidnapped another girl. This time, it was a music executive who thought she was meeting up with Rick and Tanya for a business meeting. The executive claims that over the 20-hour period that she was held hostage, she was beaten. Rick James was found guilty on both
So he did the exact same thing he's getting charged with. That is crazy.
occasions, but he nearly avoided the torture charge, which could have put him away for life. While serving his 5-year sentence, James lost a civil suit to the executive and was forced to pay her nearly $2 million. After serving a little over 2 years, James was released. At just 56 years old, Rick James was found dead in his home due supposedly to natural causes. His official cause of death was from pulmonary failure and cardiac failure. His autopsy did find a bunch of really small amounts of drugs in his system, so it's possible these aided in his
I don't feel bad for him.
downfall. However, the coroner did say none of the drugs or drug combinations were found to be at levels that were life-threatening in and of themselves. So it's unfortunate that Rick James' drug problem caused so many issues for him throughout his life, and while Rick James' crimes were motivated by drugs, GG Allin was just insane. GG Allin is an artist.
I won't give him a pass for that. I can't give him a pass for that. I can't. I don't care if the drugs made you do it, bro. You're the one consuming it.
Who I feel like his life needs a little bit of a backstory, like how his dad named him Jesus Christ. GG's father was a religious fanatic that threatened his family with death and even dug graves in their cellar, often saying he would fill them soon. His father despised pleasure and allowed his family very little contact with others. The family lived a primitive existence and were more like prisoners than a family. The most ironic part is that GG said he was glad to experience that kind of upbringing because it made him a warrior soul at an early age. Because of his rough upbringing, he was a bad student, so they placed him in special ed classes and they forced him to repeat the 3rd grade. According to his brother, GG was bullied a lot for being non-conforming, and in high school he started cross-dressing. GG himself describes his childhood as very chaotic, full of chances and danger. We sold drugs, stole, broke into houses, cars, did whatever we wanted to for the most part, including all the bands we played in. People even hated us back then. So it makes sense why this guy ended up kind of nuts. During his career, he made mainly punk rock, shock rock, and outlaw country. He performed with a bunch of bands throughout his career, and the main reason for him being placed in the shock rock genre is because of his live performances. On stage, he would self-mutilate, poop on stage, and assault audience members, all of which he...
I mean... Ew. I mean, I get his past, but ew.
He's been arrested and imprisoned for multiple times. He's been labeled the most spectacular degenerate in rock and roll history and the toughest rock star in the world. So honestly, most of his notoriety comes from his stage performances and all of his antics, even though his music really wasn't that bad. However, his music was often poorly recorded, produced, distributed, and received, but because of his personality and his antics, he developed a cult following.
Imagine being called the most degenerate person because
During a famous interview known as GG's Last before his death, he openly stated that he would take his own life or take his fans with him. When asked for clarification, he doubled down and said that he would either kill himself or kill his fans and then himself. He stated, "It's like I've got this wild soul that just wants to get out of..."
People went, he said this, and people still went to his freaking concerts. That's crazy.
His life. It's too confined in this life. I think to take yourself out at your peak, if you could die at your peak, your strongest point, then your soul will be that much stronger in the next existence. After this, he made a claim about the fact that he could sleep with minors, girls and boys, and animals, and then he claimed that he R-worded both women and men at his concerts. So clearly this guy was nuts and said a lot of crazy messed up
how do these people, how, bro?
Things, and it seems like based on his claims, he wasn't lying. In 1989, Allin was arrested and charged with assault with intent to do great bodily harm less than murder to a female acquaintance. At first, GG denied the claims, stating that the woman was a willing participant in their sexual activities. He did admit to cutting her, burning her, and drinking her blood, but he insisted that she did the same thing to him. Allin also said that there were a lot of major inconsistencies in the woman's story, but in the end, he ended up accepting a plea deal, which reduced the charge to a felony assault. As a result, he was in prison for 2 years. In the months and years before his death, Gigi's fame grew substantially, making appearances on big shows like Jerry Springer. His last show ever ended after just 3 songs when a fight broke out, and then him and his fans went parading throughout the streets. He went back to a friend's apartment to keep the party going, and at this party he ingested a large amount of heroin, which caused an overdose and killed him. His friends didn't actually realize that he was dead, so they took a Polaroid picture with his corpse until they realized he was dead, and then they called an ambulance. After being buried, his grave was frequently vandalized by fans with urine, poop, cigarette butts, and alcohol, all of which was discouraged by Gigi's mother, and in 2010 the tombstone was removed entirely after it was...
I mean, he wasn't a good person. Definitely wasn't a good person. What the world? People, I mean, I would never wish this upon anybody, but ugh.
Was knocked off its base by a fan. So I didn't really focus too much on the crime in this section, but I just thought this guy was crazy. I've heard some stories about him, so I wanted to tell you guys because it's just nuts. But if you guys did
his
like
fans would pee on his grave and poop on his grave. Oh gosh.
This video, you may be interested in one of my videos on some of the darkest songs ever written. If you are, make sure to click the video that's on screen right now. Other than that, thank you guys for...
All right, thank you guys for watching this video. The only person I think, what is this, Ian Pedo dude? Yeah, he's the only person that like I did not like. You know, he did a lot of despicable things. Out of everybody here, he was like I mean, Big Lurch is like, I guess he was just on drugs, and I don't condone that. Like, he still did the crime, but it's like, yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, hope you guys like this video. What was I gonna say? I usually cut this part out, but I don't care. Yeah, I hope you guys like this video. Please subscribe to the original video maker. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.